Hey, looks like we're live. Tuesday night, here again. How's it all going, guys? Who we got here? Tavo, welcome along all the way from Australia. Australia. Chris Freemesser, welcome along. Stephen Bakey-Bird, Josh Homan, good to have you all here. Charles Dalton, 6th Street Garage, welcome along. What's new? What's happening out there? Stephen Bakey-Bird, waiting for Kiwi. Well, you should be seeing me. Beagle Bob in the room. Am I coming through loud and clear, or do we have an issue again? Somebody tell me. Oh, we can hear. Oh, good. Cool. Just damn system. You never know whether you're whether it says you're live, but doesn't necessarily mean you are live. So yeah, it's cool. Here we are. What's been happening, guys? What's new in your guys out there in your guys' world? This on the wife's computer again, and this camera zooms in and zooms out. That's all right. As long as it stays connected, I'll be happy. Kerosene and cucumbers, loud and clear. Well, that's good. That's good. Seeing and hearing, driveway of misfits, seeing and hearing you okay at the same time too. Well, yeah, that's always a plus, isn't it? That's always a plus. All right. Well, what have I been up to? I've been up to, tearing around, trying to get parts coming from here, there, and everywhere. We've got a kind of little bit of everything going on. We've got a 62 Cadillac convertible coming in for a gas tank. Had to track one of those down. Not something you see very often. And what's kind of weird is that I booked this guy in for his gas tank, and then a few days later, another guy from within the Franklin area where I'm in rings me with another 62 Cadillac convertible with a completely different problem, but just a small problem. So you don't see them very often, and then suddenly two are coming in theory, incoming if they show up, and two in a couple of weeks. So that'll be interesting to compare them and see what they're like. Old Steve's real keen to have a good look at one too, because he's got a 63 Oldsmobile 98. Which is based off the Cadillac, all the same windows and glass and stuff like that. So he's keen to get all over it and see how they compare to his Oldsmobile. Garth Harris, hi Kiwi, got the Pacer, now just getting it squared away for summer cruising. Oh, nice. What model Pacer, bud? LVG. Welcome along, mate. Driveway of misfits. When it rains, it pours. Now it's been raining here for like 3 days. It kind of sucks. It's better than not been all that hot, so that's kind of good. Holy car mods, how is the Falcon doing? Falcon's doing just fine. It's just the little convertible, the 63. Assume that's the one you're asking about. That's doing just fine. It is, the motor is getting a little tired, and I've got another a 289, a 4V, 4-barrel engine 289, which is earmarked for the 63, time permitting. But hey, time permitting is the trick thing. Beagle Bob tuned into Dr. Art last night. Had to search for him because his channel is getting hacked. Oh, that's no good. Garth Harris, VGA88, big tank. Nice. That's a pretty rare car, I would think. So what year is that? That's late 60s, isn't it? VF, around 68, something like that. I'm not that good on my lettering for the Valiants and stuff. I'm really not. I got a kind of basic idea, but not exactly like the likes of you and Tavo will just know it like that. So, Jeff Hutchins, I'm 4 minutes late, dog my pay. Beagle Bob, if I ever get a 62 caddy, I'll bring it to you. Well, mate, I'll be happy to have it. Oh, Garth Harris. Okay, 1970. Well, that's late 60s, kind of. Chavo, E34 or E31. VG equals 1970. Okay. So I remember my mum had a, it wasn't a Pacer, it was a two-door hardtop Valiant Regal, but it was a 67, if memory serves me right. I think it was a 67. Yeah, but I'm not sure what the letter code was for that one. VF maybe? Beagle Bob, he lost his channel, had to start a new one. Oh, wow. I don't know how much crossover there is from subscribers. Figured I would mention it though. Wow, that sucks. No, I didn't realize he'd lost his channel completely. Wow. Yeah, that would suck. Driveway of Misfits. So each year had a different letter designation. I'm not sure that it did because like in Aussie, they didn't. They changed their models, but it wasn't a 12-monthly cycle. They would sometimes run a couple of years, with the same model exactly. America had the volume and the turnover of new cars to be able to do a new model every year. Oh, here we go. Tavo, VC 66 to 67, VE 67 to March 69, VF 69 to March 70. Okay. Yeah, see, there we go. The VE. That's what my mum's one would have been, a VE. And that went from October 67 right through 68 into March of 69. So yeah, they I mean, it's just a much smaller cherry to take a bite of selling cars. And yeah, they didn't. The Fords were the same. They didn't have a new model every year. They just financially just wasn't possible. They had to sell a bunch of whatever model they made. They had to sell quite a few of them before they could then, start making a profit on that car, and then before they created a new one. And of course, no VD because Aussies don't roll that way. Jeff Hutchins, yeah, Dr. Art lost it all. Luckily, he still had most of it in storage. He's been going like crazy reposting. Wow. I'm meant to be seeing him shortly, actually, so I'll have to ask him about that and see how that came to happen. Was it just purely the hackers? And why would a hacker pick on, I don't mean to slight Dr. Art in any way, but a relatively small channel? What would be their interest in hacking his channel, I wonder? Tava, yep, cover tooling costs. Unlike the US, we pumped out about 50,000 cars out a year from each factory. Yeah. Stephen Carter, Kiwi, just about to put winch on the trailer. I will sit for a spell. Yeah, there you go. Danny Boyd, hey, welcome along, man. Brian Cabral, what's that about? Charles Dalton, hacking is a matter of convenience, like theft. So I wonder what you can do to. I mean, I would not be happy if they. If I lost my channel, I really wouldn't be. Good on Dr. Art for going to the trouble of doing it all over again. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Danny Boyd, he was the troll who trolled everyone connected to UTG. Well, hopefully I've fallen outside of that category. So he was just basically picking on people because they had a connection to UTG, just making their life hard. Wow, that's pretty freaking miserable, isn't it? End of time. How close does an electric fuel pump have to be to the gas tank? Is there a model you would recommend for a 302 car? The fuel pump does need to be fairly close to the gas tank. They're better at pushing than they are at pulling or sucking. So preferably they need to be relatively low. Don't mount it up high, because that means they've got to pull uphill. I mean, as far as is there a model, I would honestly stay away from the Holly blue and red pumps. Good pumps, but they're race car pumps. They're very noisy, like very noisy. They'll just drive you mad. Carter have a few decent pumps that are low pressure, and don't draw a hell of a lot. It kind of depends a little bit. I mean, you might have a 375 horse 302, in which case you'll need a little bit better than average pump. If you've got a stock 302 making 2 and a bit, 2 and a quarter, you don't need anything special. But I like mechanical pumps. They don't often give trouble. You don't have to wire them up. You don't have to have relays. You don't have any noise with them, and they're really simple. I like a mechanical pump. Some people will say they sap a little bit of power, but it's so tiny. It doesn't take much to pump 6 psi of gasoline. At 20 gallons an hour pump. It doesn't need to be a big pump. The amount of power that drags mechanically is you would never ever feel it. So I think that's a little bit of silliness. People say they do it to save horsepower. But if you've got a decent engine and you need a good fuel pump, I would go with the Holly Black. Holly Black looks a little bit like the blue and reds, but it's a completely different design on the pump, and it has it's still low pressure, but it has heaps of volume. So yeah. Andy Nicol, good evening all. Welcome along. Charles Dalton, strong passwords, 2-factor authentication whenever possible. Yeah, well, that's pretty standard these days, isn't it? You really need to be doing that on just about everything. Jenny Boyd, I wonder how they hacked Art though. Yeah, I'm going to have to ask him how they did that, whether they just figured out his password or what. Yeah. Danny Boyd, 2-factor can be defeated if they can clone your phone. Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Chris Freeman, who knows? There are so many ways any kind of account can get compromised. Yeah, it's you kind of just wait your turn, really, don't you? And just hope it's not too bad and you catch it quick enough. Jeff Hutchins, didn't know it was UTG related. Wonder why they didn't get Tony. No, and Tony, he had a password like Mopar, and they never thought it would be that simple. That'd be Tony's luck. He'd have something so simple. That's if he bothered to put a password on. Charles Dalton, Dan, true, but with an authentication app that is removed mostly. Okay. Beagle Bob, end of time EFI carb. Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Did he not say? My brain went straight to carburetor. I don't know why. I may have been giving him erroneous advice. Tavo, even I'm getting famous. Been getting alerts from Google lately. Attempted logins from other devices. Thankfully, they do that and request 2-factor authentication to protect it. Yeah, well, Google do try and look after you, but yeah, shit happens sometimes. Stephen Carter, did you catch the stick shift grud match for 30K? No, I did not. today. My black Holly and regulator just got recalled. Oh, really? Huh. They're having issues with them. Danny Board Walbro. Yep. In tank at least. Yeah, well, if it's injected, you definitely, like a fuel injection pump, you definitely want it in the tank, really. Beagle Bob finally trimmed my alternator bracket for the 4.6 in the Mercury after the bolts broke and the alternator fell off when the wife was driving. Lucky she was in the parking lot. Oh, she would not have been impressed, though, I'll bet. Stephen Carter, I just plumbed the car. Okay. So is it, Stephen, is it EFI or carburetor? No, yeah. Oh, Dr. Art, we've just been talking about you. Do any of your viewers want to buy a 65 Barracuda? Well, that's a good question. Do any of you want to buy a 65 Barracuda? It's got nice carpets in it, I can tell you that much. Dr. Art has personally put floorboards in it, so you won't drag your feet on the ground. I don't know much else about it, to be honest with you. People Bob spent a couple of hours doing unplanned work at the gas station. Luckily, nothing difficult. Oh, that is lucky. Yeah. Wow, that sucks. Holly, and it's noisy as hell. I thought it was dying. Replaced it, and the new one was just loud. Was that a blue or a red one? If that's what it was, then hellishly loud. Yeah. Driveway of Misfits, speak of the devil, that Dr. Art, yep. Jeff Hutchins, Holly electric pumps are pretty loud. I use Holly Red as lift pumps and old mechanical injection, as lift pumps for old mechanical injection diesel trucks. Once they're running, you don't notice. Probably the diesel quietens them down a little bit, I would think. But yeah, with the diesel running, the diesel will drown it out. But yeah. Dr. Arts, yes, I also got hacked. Yeah, we were just talking about you, mate. You lost everything apparently. Like you got it back, your old channel, or you having to? The guys were saying you actually had to start over. Jeff Hutchins, notice the noise, and they're rebuildable. Yeah, yep, they are. S2 on a roller 302. Yeah, I'd think about a Carter electric fuel pump. Tech bits and pieces, Flintstone style Barracuda. Well, it was when he started, but he's fixed it all now. Tech bits and pieces, Holly, red and blue pumps are always noisy, especially when priming. Yeah, it's just the design, that vane type pump is just always going to be noisy. It works well, but it's noisy. Paul Funk, good evening, everyone. Don't forget to mash the like button. That would be cool. That would be cool. Got to keep hitting that like button. And yeah, if you guys can hit the hype buttons, and if you're watching any of my videos, that is a big help. Stephen Carter, I bought a Carter today. It's always worked. Funny, my namesake. Yes. Good pumps. I mean, they've been around forever, Carter. Yeah, it's just good product. Chris Freemus, I guess one reason to put the pump in the tank is to reduce noise. Never thought of that. Well, particularly with fuel injection, the pumps pump so much more pressure, like they're up, anywhere from 45 to 60 psi. So they work hard, so they produce heat. And believe it or not, the fuel actually cools the pump. And it helps the longevity and reliability of the pump a lot. That and the reduction in noise is they're the two key reasons to put them in the tank. And it's also one of the reasons people do get fuel pump failures, and it's a habit that people have of running their tanks like me included, I tend to run my tank to the last, to the, the fumes, and then, begrudgingly fill it up, just because I can't be asked actually pulling into the gas station and filling up. But when you do that on a fuel injected car, when the fuel gets really low, the pump gets extra hot. And then what people will go and be humming down the interstate somewhere and, running as long as they can, or, as long as they're comfortable with, and they'll get it down towards E. And then they go in and they, dump 15, 20 gallons of cold gasoline onto the hot pump. And it does, not all the time, not every time, but it will finish. It can finish the pump off. Like that sun being real hot and then really cold, and they don't like it. They'll just quit. And a lot of people have filled up with gas, and then the car just won't run again. And they think it's the gas. They got bad gas. There's something that happened. So blaming the gas station, but it's actually that they ran their car too low on fuel, got the pump really hot, and that was that. So a lot of techs, whatever you want to call them these days, with the modern, with the fuel injected generation, they'll say, really don't ever run your tank below quarter. Okay, Tavo, needed to put an electric pump on my old ute for a different reason, upgraded to a 100 amp alternator, and that now wants some of the space the mechanical pump lives in. They want to share the same piece of real estate. Yes. End of time. Do the Holly pumps get hot? Not especially hot. No, I don't believe so. And again, we're talking about normally low pressure Holly pumps, not because Holly do injection pumps as well, which they will get hot. Yeah. Tech bits and pieces. Holly blew on my RX4, blended in with the noise from the Weber IDA carb and the Gilmer drive. Well, yeah. Mate, I knew what you were saying even when you spelled it wrong. That's all right. I get it. Isn't the induction noise awesome from an IDA? Mate, I remember my RX2 days with Bridgeport and IDA. A lot of fun to drive. Holy car mods. Any to do floor pans will be the first time doing it. The car does not need full pans. Honestly, look back over some of my videos. Yeah, probably quite often I'm doing full floor pans. It's very common to do halves. Leave the kind of hump of the drive shaft in place. What sort of car is it on? But the Mustangs particularly are like you can buy a front floor pan and a rear. Front left, front right, rear left, rear right sections, and leave the seat base in place, which is okay if it's not rusty under the seat base, because the seat bases are welded in. But yeah, there's that's a hard one to explain here tonight how to do it, but really it's just cutting out everything that's rusty until you've got good metal to work with, and don't be shy. Like don't feel bad about making a big hole, because there's no point in trying to make the repair hole panel as small as possible, because you go 20% bigger and it's not that much more welding. So make sure you cut everything out, and make sure you get to really good full thickness metal. And then, if you can, try and do a rough cut on your patch panel, sit it over there, and then mark it out with a scribe from under. If you put it in on top, reach up underneath, scribe it from underneath, and then you can, work out, how much bigger. Presumably, you do an overlap. Butt joining floor pans is hard work. There's so many little shapes and humps and pressings in the floor. Trying to get them to all match up. Butt welding is a real chore, and unless you've got a very special car, a lap joint is fine, or like an overlap joint. Garth Harris, the two V-code Mopars, Mopar 5150, brought from Australia, are now in the USA. Come on down in March to Chrysler's on the Murray, biggest Mopar show in Australia, mate. I would love to. So the two V-code Mopars, they're up in the US. Huh, interesting. Stephen Carter, I got an aeromotive regulator. Yep, they're good. They're very good. That has two springs, high and low. It can run a carb or EFI. Right, yeah, depending on the spring you put in it. Yep. Tavo, in Oz you can get single sections for most models, each footwell. Yeah, well, it is popular for the reman people because it's much easier to make a small section of floor rather than like a whole floor pan. That's a big piece of tooling, like to stamp a whole floor pan in one hit. It's a big piece of tooling. I'll admit it's the way I like to do a floor pan if I can. If there's much rust in it, if you've got like 4 patches to do. I know it's cheaper, buying 4 patches than it is to buy a full floor pan. But if you do a full floor pan, you get a much better finished product at the end of it. Holy car, mate. Oh, it's Ford Ranchero. Ford Ranchero that you're doing it on. What year, mate? What year Ranchero? Because the floors vary a bit on them. Jeff Hutchins, Dan customer took me away. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass, those customers, aren't they? I had a doozy today. The young guy with a Mustang convertible. It was actually his dad's Mustang convertible. He left the ignition switch on. Says he didn't, but I know he did. On a Petronix with the Petronix 1 system where they'll burn out if you leave the ignition on. Melted the ignition unit, completely like Chernobyled the coil. The coil was like just vomiting shit out of it. It just completely cooked the coil. And so I fixed that for him, and he picked it up, and like 4 minutes later, he rings me and says, "Oh, hey, his ride was following him home, his sister, and one of the tail lights wasn't working. Brake lights, sorry. One of the brake lights wasn't working. And he wanted to know what I was going to do about it." And I said, "Well, it's nothing to do with what we've done to the car, but bring it back." And he was most upset and annoyed that he was having to drive the car back from like 3-4 minutes away for me to switch out his brake light bulb. And it's like, wow. No wonder you young guys get called entitled. But yeah, he said, he seemed to think that I should be running out to him to fix his brake light when it was in for no ignition, no running. Go figure. So yeah, customers, Jeff, they're a necessary evil, aren't they? Danny Boyd, Stephen Carter. I worked for a guy and his son, and the grandfather was president of Carter Carburetors in the 70s. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. They made a lot of carburetors. Tavo, holy cow, I'd suggest watching more of Kiwi's vids, and a lot of them you can see firsthand what he was just explaining about cutting a market out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. Just go back and just scroll through the videos, and it doesn't have to be a Ranchero, but you'll get the drift of how it's done, really. Jeff Hutchins, I've never noticed the Holly pumps getting hot. No, I haven't. I've never grabbed hold of one after it's just been running to know. But I mean, just electric motors, do generate some heat. So that was really where that comment was from. Stephen Carter, need a mate who has done it. That would be helpful, yeah. Danny Boyd, a return setup will probably keep it from getting hot. Tavo, hey mate, that's very good of you. That's awesome. Towards $10 towards your next bottle of bourbon. Well, cheers, mate. I appreciate it. It's awesome. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Danny. Yeah, a return setup will certainly helps to keep the fuel a bit cooler. Jeff Hutchins, mine are on diesel, so they're constantly returning to the tank. I've never run one dead-headed. No, deadheading is not a system I like really, unless it's a really low-pressure pump and you don't need a regulator. But if you need to regulate it down, a return regulator is really the way to go, because deadhead ones tend to creep. The pressure will like leak past them, and then you set it at your 5 or 6 pounds for a carburetor, and it creeps up, and before you know it, you got 8 psi if you're sitting there at a slow set of traffic lights, and then you start to the thing starts to load up because it'll start to flood. Stephen Carter birded up tool. Well, yes, that was kind of my thoughts. Danny Boyd, I wonder if leaving the ignition on without the engine running is what causes the Dura spark boxes to puke their syrup all over the inner fenders. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I mean the later Petronics don't do it. They added a feature to them, like the Petronics 2 and 3. They don't do it, but the Petronics 1, if you leave the ignition on without it running for more than 5 minutes, you're flirting with replacement. Driveway of misfits. That's what you get for living in a hoity-toity town. I suppose Franklin is a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of right there. But yeah, but I mean, I should have got an inkling as to what they were like, because I rolled up the other Monday morning and this car was just parked outside. And they never contacted me. They never said, do you have time to look at it? Can you look at it? Do you want to look at it? Nothing. They just sent it there on a tow truck. And I had to figure out who the hell it was. And it's like, because the tow truck driver dropped it off before I was there. And I'm like, who the hell does this belong to? So that was a hint at the entitlement. They were just like, we'll send it there and he'll fix it. Paul Funk, I dislike them, mister, ever since you customers. Sorry, that took a moment to figure it. Now I got it. Ever since you worked on it, yeah, it's had this issue. Yeah, yes, they are. Amazing what they don't notice until you've worked on it, and then every little thing that comes up. Stephen Carter, Tarbo stud muffin. Oh, well, it's quite possibly I don't know. Is that the first time you've been called a stud muffin, Tarbo? It's the first time I've heard it, but hey. Paul Funk, I was accused of degrading and discolorating a leather shifter knob once. That's a new one. Jeff Hutchins, Paul Funk, yeah, good name, ever since you customers. Yeah, I'm going to have to remember that one. Yeah, that's a good one, all right, definitely. Charles Dalton had just started dating my wife, replaced an upper engine mount for her. 3 weeks later, she got a flat. Thought the two were related. Almost had our first argument that day. Oh, my God. Engine mount and puncture. Driveway of misfit. Ever since you, Romanian. Yeah, definitely Romanian, yeah, without a doubt. Definitely Romanian. Oh, dear. All too funny. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my day. Been working on the Alpine a little bit today. Been working on rebuilding the tri-power carburetors for the GTO, the old 64 GTO that's now parked outside. We're waiting on the engine, which should be back in any day now, a week now. We've just got to get the carbs rebuilt so we can bang them on the engine, and they're going to give it a quick dyno, and it's coming back to my shop to get installed. So yeah, maybe unfortunately they're like an hour and 20-minute drive away. So, but maybe try and shoot a video of it on the dyno. That might be an interesting video. So what do you think? And same place as doing the Marge's engine. I was definitely going to do a video of the dyno for her engine, but yeah. Chris Femus said the New Zealand contingent seems late to the party tonight. Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no Grandad's Junk, no Barracuda. Yeah, the regulars are not in tonight. I don't know. I don't think it's any special day in New Zealand, unless they change their daylight saving and they've all forgotten what time it is. It's possible. Stephen Carter owned a body shop more like wine and cheese factory. Can I pay you 2 weeks from next Tuesday? Yes, 2 weeks from next Tuesday. Is that similar to see you next Tuesday? You know what the acronym for see you next Tuesday is, don't you? Jeff Hutchins, my neighbour has a marine repair boat shop. Some woman had her Tesla with a flat tyre towed there and dropped off with a flat tyre. It was unlocked but no key. Left it right in front of a shop bay. Isn't that amazing? A boat shop. Like, what were they thinking? Clearly they weren't thinking. Oh, Biggle Bob, I think Grandad said he was going to a swap meet. Oh, fair enough. Oh, from Dr. Art's stream last night. Okay, fair enough. It's not like it's compulsory to come here, is it? You know, if you've got a swap meet and you can score some stuff, have at it. Jeff Hutchins, FYI, you can push a Tesla out of the way with no key. Yes, if you've got a nice big truck, you can push it, not a problem. David Tyree, what do you mean? I've been here from the start. Well, that's true, yes, but yeah, it's just not as heavy on the ground as usual, David. Tavo, daylight saving did change last weekend, but that would get them here an hour early. Okay. Paul Funk, referring to last week's conversation, I used Wellbutrin to stop chewing and it worked. It helps with nicotine withdrawal. Okay. Oh, that was, yeah, Andy Nicol was yeah, we were discussing cigarette addiction. Yes. Stephen Carter Wimpy Burger. Tech bits and pieces. See you next Tuesday. Is that what non-paying customers are? Exactly, sir. You are correct. Priorities, guys. Kiwi, live or swap me. Wow, you know. Jeff Hutchins, I think Mr. Ever Since You is Irish. Well, ever since you. Could be. Andy Nicol, no, you tried that, mate. Yeah. Made me crazy. Yeah. Sometimes the cure's worse than the malady, isn't it? So Tuesday, it's a Wednesday then. Wonder when there's a swap meet on a Wednesday and Wednesday morning in New Zealand, or Wednesday midday-ish. What time is it in New Zealand, David? Josh Homan, ever since she was no good at any rate. Well, that's right. That's right. 140. Oh, in New Zealand, or is that New Zealand or Aussie, mate? End of time. The Holly pump I'm using is the Mighty Mite model 12-427. I'm not familiar with that name. The Mighty Mite. I just know them as Holly Reds and Holly Blues. Basically the same pump, but they're different pressures slightly. I think one's a 6 pound and one's a 9 pound or something like that. David Torrey, 140. Oh, so Tavo was right on the money there. Okay, 140. Yeah, Wednesday swap meets. That seems a bit unusual. Yeah, well, whatever. He is from the South Island, so they're a little different down in the South Island. Just saying. Chris Freemesser. So what's Kev up to this evening? My money's on his back being above 4.0. Okay, not sure what you mean. Back, this BAC being above 4.0. You lost me there, bud. I'm not sure. You have an old man brain. I'm not following you. Paul Funk, ever since you can be male, female, rich or poor, absolutely. Blood alcohol content. Okay, I gotcha. BAC. I haven't heard it referred to as that. 4.0, yeah, 4.0. That's pretty hammered. I think I may have been 4.0 at some point in my life, but it was pretty ugly. You might be dead actually at 4.0. But no, he's at the workshop, left him there. He's guarding the Alpine. From what, I'm not quite sure, just the other critters, because we did evict a lot of critters from the Alpine. So I guess he's just making sure they don't try and squat again. Stephen Carter, grab me a Barra and a Capri. There you go. That'd be a neat look. A Mark 1 Capri with a Barra in it, like a strong Barra. That'd be a neat car. I think that'd be a neat car. Jeff Hutchins, the 12-8011 is the Holly Red that I use. Yeah, okay. Stephen Carter, rocket fuel. Yes. 4.0 is waking up next to livestock with a half-eaten hot dog in your shirt pocket. Yeah. Tavo, speaking to a copper once, he told me about a bloke they hauled in at 4.1. Said you shouldn't be alive, but this guy was walking fine. Wow, he obviously... Oh, actually, it's 4.41. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty hammered. That's pretty hammered. He must have been a full-on alcoholic if he was still functioning at that. David Tyree seen a Capri with a 351 Cleveland. That's a lot of engine in a Capri, like big, physically big engine in a Capri. But they got a long nose on them. That Barra would slip in there pretty easy, I would think, and probably make more power than a 351C. Unless it was a very good 351C, but yeah. At least the half-eaten hot dog was in your pocket. Oh, well, let's not take it there. Driveway of misfits. I think 0.07 gets you arrested for DWI around here. Yeah. 0.8 is the legal limit for most of the US. Yeah, 0.8 is, that's what the number I'm familiar with. So imagine being 4 times the legal limit. Oh, more than 4 times. What's that? 5 times. Jeez. Tavo, I think South Africans had 302 Capris from the factory. Mate, you spelt it how they say it, haven't you? That's funny. I believe they did. Yes, you're right. I believe they did put 302s in the Capris in South Africa. Wasn't obvious, like just there's so much room. They have a long nose on those Capris, and they had a V6 anyway, so they had the width. So it was a very easy swap. A lot of Capris in New Zealand got. I want to say a lot. It seemed fairly common on Capris to get like Windsors put in them. Cleveland's, definitely would need a little bit more fabrication, I would think. But yeah, David's saying, kept busting axles. Yeah, I bet he did. Tech bits and pieces. A lot of the Capri V8 conversions here are mainly Windsor. Same with the Cortina conversions. Yeah. Well, the Windsor's just so much narrower. It just makes a lot more sense. That's why, Shelby put them in Cobras. Shelby put them in Alpines, Tigers. Because they were pretty narrow. Slightly, an inch and a half longer, I think, than a small block Chev, but narrower. And certainly in the likes of a Capri, the width was more critical than the length. I do think a Barra would be pretty cool in it, though. Holy car mods. Guy I camped by, I see him drink 248 packs. Never slurred a word. 248 packs? Geez, I don't think I could do that in a week. Wow. 96 cans of beer. You'd be peeing like every 3.5 minutes. Well, I would be anyway. Good grief. That's incredible. Stephen Carter, I had one with a 2-litre Clifford manifold and top loader 4-speed, a 9-inch in a high school, 22 miles per gallon, 14.0. My dream, the factory V8 car. Huh. A 2.0. So are you confusing me there? Factory V8 car, the 2.0. Top loader and 9-inch. I'm guessing you that was meant to be 289, maybe. I don't know. You lost me there a little bit, Mr. Carter. Beagle Bob, I'm going to have to call it quits early tonight. Got lots of packing to do. Yeah, you must be moving soon, bud. You must be moving real soon. Driveway of misfits. What comes in 48 packs? PBRs. Ugh. Jeff Hutchins, we had 5-litre Capris, but Fox bodies, right? I like the Mercury Capri. I like the fender flares on the, those box type flares that the Mercury Capris had. Here, they were just awesome. If I was going to have a Fox body, I'd look around and find the Mercury Capri. I just think the fenders on it make for just a much better looking car. Yeah. Paul Fake, I bet Golf and John Daly could drink that much beer. Yeah, he had a reputation for being a huge drinker, didn't he? Josh Homan, you'd be dead if you drank that much beer. I actually, yeah. I mean, I guess it all comes down to over what period of time you drink that much beer. But there's only so much room. Physically, your body only has so much liquid carrying capacity, and it can only process it so fast. That would 96 cans of beer. But never say never, but I don't imagine he sculled them all. Driveway of misfits before he got to the third green. Oh, my Lord. David Torrey, I can knock off a litre of rum and walk straight. Wow, really? Oh, Pinto 4-cylinder. Okay. Oh, your dream was the factory V8 car. Right, okay, I'm with you. I get you. Sometimes it loses a little in the translation. It does with my senior brain. That would have been a fun car. That would have been a fun car. Josh Homan probably couldn't hit straight after that. No, probably not. Jeff Hutchins, I could drink 248 packs of anything in a week. Yeah. Oh, I get sick of beer. I can only drink. Yeah, I can't drink that much beer in a sitting, like an evening or whatever, afternoon. I just get too bloated, and then I go onto the top shelf. So, but maybe I'm just an amateur, End of time. Hey, do you guys know the model number for the Carter electric pump I should get? Yeah, no, I don't. My memory's not that good. I can probably look it up. Shoot me an email, bud, and I'll see if I can find it for you. I know what it looks like. I can spot it pretty quick. Let me just type it in here. Shoot me an email and have a look when we get off here. I'll have a look, and I should be able to find it pretty quick. But I don't know the number off the top of my head. Holy Carmods, Morning to Dust, the guy did that. Yeah, well, you got to like beer. Yeah, I mean, that's believable. You saw it happen. He did it. But he obviously a trained professional, shall we say. Paul Funk, I call it aiming fluid. Yeah, and the closer you get to the 96, the worse your aim gets. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, too much Ford talk here. What does this gun have a Mustang shop? Yes, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I'm a bit of a Ford guy, but I'm a bit of an all of them guy as well. But yeah, David Tyree, yeah. 1.95 meters and weigh 125. You're a big lad. Hey, remind me not to sort of give you too much grief because I might meet you one day. That's a big lad. 1.95. What's that? That's like 6'6" in old-fashioned speak. 6'6". Got to be at 195. Driveway of Misfits. John Daly drank so much that they named a drink after him. 50% vodka, 50% Arnold Palmer. So 50% lemonade, iced tea, 50-50. Yeah. Interesting drink. Stephen Carter, if it's electric, I can do it. Yep. Take bits and pieces. Beer bloats me too. I prefer spirits anyway. I like a beer. I do like a few beers, especially if it's hot. I do like a few beers. But probably 4, unless it's exceptionally hot. And, if there's some good company or there's a good motor race going on or something like that, I can do a few more, but not much more. 6th Street Garage, I agree. Those Fox Body Capris look good. I like the German-made Capri. Well, yeah, the German-made Capri is. Well, that's the true Capri. Mercury kind of just needed. Yeah, I mean, Mercury's was really a Mustang Fox Body, but they just made it their own and called it a Capri. Andy Nickel, driving home from the pub one night, I woke up with my S10 sitting in a snowbank on someone's front lawn. I quit drinking shortly after that. Oh, good for you, man. I mean, you kind of got to be grateful for those moments in your life because, that was obviously a real wake-up call for you, but you didn't hurt yourself, and just as importantly, you didn't hurt anyone else. Possibly a front fence, front lawn fence. That's about it. So good on you for taking the hint and quitting drinking. Paul Funk, I bet you could use this liver to resole a pair of boots. Yeah, okay. Yep. Josh Homan, I prefer the Arnold Palmer without the fermented potato. Yeah, I'm not a vodka drinker. Mrs. K's a big vodka drinker. No. White rum, yeah, I like that. You know, Bacardi rum, but not vodka. David Tyree, 6.5. Oh, Stephen K, you found it. 4601, high pressure. Could well be it. Holy Carmods, how are the 8-inch Ford rear ends over the 9-inch rears? Well, they're actually pretty good. They're underrated. Depending what you're going to do with it and how much horsepower you're going to throw at it. The limitation on an 8-inch is the availability of bigger axles. So you're kind of stuck with that 28 spline axle that the 8-inch have. If you put the stronger housing, there's two different models of housing in the 8-inch Ford, and they changed in 67. They put more webbing in the pumpkin, the actual diff carrier. They put more webbing in it, and that made them a lot more durable. And then you put a good limited slip unit in it, and they're pretty hard to break. Unless you're going to go put slicks on and go to the drag strip and have a manual transmission and you like doing bonsai starts, then you're going to need a 9-inch. But it's interesting. I've seen some guys I've known can break a 9-inch, and other guys will make an 8-inch last. It's a little bit of mechanical sympathy, and if you like doing one of those overly aggressive, power shifts into second and stuff like that, that can break an axle on an. Am I back? I think I'm back. Took me a moment to pick up on the comments. You're back. Chris Freeman. Well, thank you, sir. Yes, good to be back. Finally back. How long was I gone for? God, I hate this thing. It's so frustrating because you don't know. And then when I read Barry Cooter's, will he still be talking to himself? I'm like, what? And then it's like, shit, they're talking about me. Yeah. Don't know why. Roosters Restorations. Bummer. I wanted to know if he wanted an NOS Lincoln fender. Huh. Well, there's got to be. I mean, I don't personally need an NOS Lincoln fender, but I'm sure there's somebody that does. What year Lincoln, mate? Yeah. You're back. You are finally back. Good 5 minutes. Oh, good grief. The trouble when you get a little bit behind on the comments as well, it takes a few extra moments. Driveway of misfits. I'd rather be heading into summer than our nasty winter. No, I can't do the heat anymore. I'd rather have winter. At least you can turn the heating up, and dress warm. Yeah, I'm done with 95-degree days of summer. It's too hot. Oh, sorry, I dropped out there, guys. Yeah. I think Kev found the internet router again. Mate, he's not even in the same zip. Well, he is the same zip. He's 20 minutes away from here right now, so that would be quite a trick. I think Kiwi, Chris Freemason. I think KC&C needs an in-house IT professional to handle situations like this. When are you coming over, mate? When are you coming over? You need to come for a visit to Tennessee, and then you can come and straighten me out. Chris Freeman, so we average 100 inches of snow here in the winter. You think you're man enough to handle that? No, actually, no. 100, no. No, I don't. 100 inches, damn. No, that's not fun. No, best place for snow is on a Christmas card. That's the best place for snow. We get like a week of snow here, sometimes 2 weeks, and that's it. And it's usually snow for 2 or 3 days, and then just waiting for the ice to thaw. So yeah, it's that's my kind of winter. But 100 inches, nah. Ugh. Good grief, no. Rooster's restoration. I think it's a 75 to 78 left front fender. Found it in the parts room. Want it gone. 75 to 70. Oh, that's a huge fender, isn't it? They're those really long ones, aren't they? Yeah, I know the model you mean. Cool cars. I like those. Is it Series 4 Lincolns? Or Mark IV, not Series 4, Mark IV Lincolns. That sort of mid-ish 70s. They were cool, so big, a real pimp mobile. Saw one not long ago on Facebook and went, I wonder. It was a real little time capsule too. It was quite a nice one. Like it would be, it had hardly any miles on it. You could tell it hadn't been used much. Would have been a cool car to own. Mrs. Kiwi probably wouldn't have wanted to go in it at all, ever, but, that's okay. End of time. Time for a shot of Stolly vodka. There you go. Barracuda, it would be way too nasty a winter there for me. Yeah, mate. I couldn't do that 100 inches of snow. That would get depressing because you just can't really move around. That's very it really impacts the way you live your life at that level of snow. Holy car mods, I thought it was my fault because I asked about the 8-inch forward rear ends. No. Jeff Hutchins, I'll take winter every time for the same reasons as Kiwi. I don't know. Maybe as we're getting a bit older, it just gets harder to deal with the heat. I don't know. Josh Homan, I missed the warmth already. There you go. Volfly's in the house. Hey, clings to a sub sandwich. What's for dinner at Volfly's place? Hopefully it's something better than a sub sandwich. Rooster's Restorations, a Mark V. So how do I contact you? Here we go. Rooster's Restoration. So I'm in Minnesota, so we have a freeze warning tonight. 3 days ago, it was not. Wow. In 3 days, you went from 90 to a freeze warning? Wow, that's pretty wild. Rooster's Restoration, there's my email, mate. Just shoot me an email. Jeff Hutchins, Volfly, you were supposed to bring me sausages like 2 weeks ago. Josh Homan, back when they weren't afraid to build big cars. And didn't they do it with style too? I like the big, like those pillow top mattress type seats they had on them. Like they were huge seats, and then they had that like an extra 3-inch like pillow top on top of the seats. All built in, but yeah, they were cool. You kind of got in and you soaked into the seat. Yeah. Driveway of mischief. Well, we don't get all 100 inches at once. Well, no, obviously not, but that's still a lot of snow. A lot of snow here in Nashville is like 3-4 inches. That's enough so the kids can go, sledding or tobogganing down the hills in the neighbourhood. But that's 6 inches maybe. So yeah, ooh. Vilefly, not cooking tonight. Was working on replacing a windshield washer pump for a customer at the end of the day. Found 2 dead mice in the fluid. Oh, that'd be nasty. Really don't want to cook tonight. No, that would that would definitely put a dent in your appetite. Yes. No marinated steak for you. Pre-messer. Oh, that's fighting talk. Because of the mice or because you were working on a Ford. Good grief. It's funny though. Josh Homan, that was nice. Yeah, now all seats are like rocks. Yeah. Volflight was a Nissan Frontier truck. I'm still imagining that smell. Yeah, it's hard to get it out of your nose, isn't it? It's like that. Traumatic memory. Yeah. Holy car mods, I'm in Ohio and still having 80-degree days. It's not normal. No, it's pretty warm here. It's kind of September temperatures, but it ain't September, Just looking at my phone. Yeah, today was 75. It's all in the 70s, 75, 77. Yeah, it's still pretty warm. Roosters Restorations. I will get you pics and send it tomorrow. By the way, I love Large Marge and want a shirt. There you go. Okay. Also, it was my inspiration to buy my red 67 Coronet wagon. So it's your fault. It's on my channel. I'll have to go and have a look, mate. Yeah, cool. Red 67 Coronet. That'll be a cool wagon. That'll be a cool wagon. For nasal PTSD. Chris Freemas, the last few days have been 85 here in New York, getting back to normal now. So the roads up New York, the roads must be frozen a lot through winter. Everything just goes to hell in a handbag here when the interstates get a bit of ice on them. People lose their minds and just crash everywhere. It's like their memory doesn't extend back to last winter. When it was ice on bridges and shit like that, and people were crashing and getting stuck. They just seem to completely forget every year. Jeff Hutchins. Okay, long story. Might take a couple of posts. Okay, here we go. I worked at my dad's and uncle's welding shop from ages 11 to 18. My uncle spent all day welding inside of a garbage truck. It wasn't completely... Ooh, see where this is going. It wasn't completely empty. Gene Turner made a fiberglass part from a 68 GT500 hood louver yesterday. Tony. Okay. Barracuda, will I see you in September? Will you see me in September? Don't think so. Max level, keep that reservoir capped. Blue mice could be a new slushy favourite. Oof. Josh Homan, welding inside a garbage truck is a job that certainly stinks. God, I'd say so. Yeah, that's got to be nasty, doesn't it? And Jeff Hutchins, there we go, part 2. While he was welding, he could see the reflection of chicken heads in the welding hood. They were stacked up in the corner of the truck behind him. Guess what his wife made him for dinner? He went to McDonald's. Oh, yee. Yuck. Firefly. I will be making a somatics demonstrator for my wife to show the kids at school. There are speaker transducers they sell that glue to a wall to turn it into a speaker. I will be using foam board. Well, aren't you just a little clever clogs? Somatics demonstrator. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Glue to a wall to turn it into a seat. The whole wall becomes a speaker. That's pretty cool. Driveway of misfits. We have great snow ploughing around these parts. Rare that they can't keep the main roads clear in heavy snow. There you go. Oh, Barracuda, September song. I mean, when will I see? Yeah, okay. Yep. And now I see what you mean. Okay, I gotcha. Roosters Restorations. How do you get the mouse smell out of these old wagons? I vacuumed it out and put pine air fresheners in, but it still stinks. Yeah, that's a tough one because they get into the seat. Anything to do with upholstery is, that's where the smell will be lingering. They've probably been in the seats, and often you've got to basically reupholster the car, get every little bit of sound deadening out, every bit of jute type sound deadening, and repackage the seats, take all the stuffing out of the seats, and because the little fuckers just pee in there, you can mask it with fresh air, this and that, but the only way really is to get rid of it. Which is frustrating. I know, Marge still smells like that. But that she will be getting a complete interior, so it will go away. Holy car mods. The worst is a trash truck to weld on. The smells soak into the metal. It's the worst. Oh, okay. Driveway of Misfits, check the headliner too. Absolutely check the headliner, yes. Yeah, anything to do with any kind of pad, like I say, sound deadening, because they love the sound deadening up in the headliner. And then they go, they chew that up in the headliner and then take it into the framework around the edges of the roof, the cant rails we used to call them. That little tubular section around the perimeter of the roof, and make their little houses in there. Carry all the jute, the stuffing, the padding in there, and have quite the little mansion going on there, and it's very hard to get that out. But you've really got to take the headlining out to get to that. It's not easy. Volfly, somatics show the sound patterns on a medium. In this case, I will sprinkle salt on the foam board with sound coming from it. Huh. Okay. That'll be interesting to watch. Volfly, I can smell with an ozone generator. Actually, yeah, I have heard of that. We used to have a terrible problem in New Zealand with secondhand Japanese import cars. The Japanese are heavy smokers, and they spend a lot of time in traffic smoking up a storm. So we would get a lot of used Japanese import cars that just stunk of cigarettes. They were just like, you open the door, it was like opening the ashtray of a regular heavy smoker's car. And the nicotine was actually, you could wipe a rag across the dash and it would come out brown from the nicotine in the car. They were bad. And I remember them. This going back a few years now, but I remember them messing around with ozone generators to try and get rid of that smell. Interesting. I haven't even heard of one of those for decades. Driveway of Misfits. I've heard that overuse of an ozone generator can deteriorate rubber components. Huh. Jeff Hutchins, that's not very constructive, mate. Rooster, have you tried fire? Well, yes, I'm sure that would fix it. But yes, possibly a little too aggressive, I feel. Barracuda, I haven't noticed New Zealand mice being as troublesome. No, you're probably right, actually. Never thought about it in those terms. But no, like just 9 out of 10 of the old cars I get through the shop, you pull the back seat out, and you'll see the evidence of critters in there. And this is not; these are often restored cars. Or maybe not like just fresh out of the shop restored, but cars that are like nice cars. They've had their upholstery redone, and the little feckers will find their way back in and start chewing up the seats again. It's possibly the heat, for a garage car, but like the rodents don't like the real cold, and they don't particularly like the real heat. So a car's, especially a garage car or one in a barn, is a pretty good option. So I guess we don't have the heat swings in New Zealand to the same extent, but no, you're probably right. I don't remember the issues with rodents in New Zealand cars. Okay, Vilefly saying but you've really got to overdo it with the ozone thing, huh? Rooster's Restorations. The headliner is perfect, and that perforated wood stuff. The carpet has to go, and I'm sure that's a large part of it. It will be, but if it keeps hanging in there, you might need to. Those headlining does come down relatively easy. I wouldn't rule that out, but probably I get you wouldn't want to disturb that headliner really, because if you break a piece of that wood, that hardboard type stuff they use, then how are you going to replace that? That would be a problem. Andy Nickel, that's not the nicotine, it's the tar. Oh, okay, you're probably right there. I just not even sure why I called it nicotine, but nicotine cigarettes. It's just that's how my brain worked on that one. Driveway of misfits, go big or go home. Oh dear. End of time. Chinese cigarettes are great. Really? Why are Chinese cigarettes great? I had no idea. Max Level. The headliner is the penthouse of mouse infestations. Isopropyl alcohol is a good wipe for surface smells. Yeah, IPA is awesome stuff. It's good for so many things, especially pure IPA, which is pretty hard to get. But it's a great solvent, cleans, like great for cleaning stuff. IPA is awesome stuff. Rooster's Restorations. The mouse nest under the back seat was a condo with snacks. LOL, nutshells everywhere. Yeah. They love the cars, don't they? They just love cars. Vilefly. Let's face it, if the ozone generator doesn't do it, you need to eliminate the source that is still producing the smell. The worst I dealt with was mac and cheese and milk under the... Oh. Yeah. That'd be... milk is never good. It's not good. In summertime. Oh, yeah. Tavo, I walked away from a couple of project cars simply at the first whiff of rodent smell, moved along to the next one. They cause a huge amount of damage, which is why, I've said it, more than once on videos that barn finds are not they're not the holy grail of finding cars. Barn finds means they've had a lot of rodents living in them, because barns are not, they're not as hard to get into or as policed for rodents as a house or your internal garages. If you can find a garage find that's been kept for the last 30 years in a garage that's attached to the house, then that's a good find. But a barn find, not so much. The problem is they pee where they live, and they just pee, and the uric acid in urine eats metal. It just sets the rust off, and you end up with rust in some weird places purely due to rodents. Chris Freeman says our off-topic discussion for the week is gross stuff found in cars. Yes, it would seem that way. Yes. Driveway misfits because they're not $60 per pack. Exactly. Jeff Hutchins, yes, good use of icons. Yes. Barracuda. One time I had the back window out of my Valiant and had a chrome air cleaner lid on the rear shelf. The sun reflected off it onto the headline and nearly set it on fire. Oh, wow. Oh. Like a magnifying glass, the sun. Yeah. Yeah, wow. Good thing it didn't catch. Volfly. Saw a great video where a guy used liquid nitrogen to freeze the tar-like sound deadening material and then smash them to pieces and remove like peanut brittle. Yeah, I've seen that where they use dry ice cubes as well. You'll get a big old container of dry ice and put that down onto the floors and just let it really freeze up. And yeah, it just shatters. As you say, just like peanut brittle. Andy Nicol, if I leave my door open at night, guaranteed I'll be refreshing the poison. My shop is rather crowded and a bit messy. It's kind of like Hawaii for mice. Yes. Yeah, I'm kind of lucky. My landlord or landlady, she hates anything to do with bugs or rodents or mice, rats, anything like that. So, they have, people coming around baiting, spraying like every month without fail. So in the shop, it's pretty minimal, Barracuda. Luckily, a visitor noticed it smouldering. Wow. Imagine explaining that one to the insurance company. That would have been a tough one. Jeff Hutchins. My topic was gross stuff found in garbage trucks. Well, yes, looks like it's kind of evolved into gross stuff in cars. Volfly. Kiwi. What is a good adhesive for headliner cloth? Mine is starting to sag out on the wagon. You have to use Weldwood. Make a what do they call it? It is a professional grade contact adhesive, Landau top adhesive they call it, they call it Landau top because of it, it's like vinyl roof glue. But yeah, it's and you can buy it on Amazon, places like that. You will need a spray gun to spray it with. You can use an automotive spray gun, but you're actually better off to get a one that's jetted, so to speak, for the glue, because the glue is very thick. So yeah, you can buy a spray gun online for it, and that Landau top glue by Weldwood, and that is the only stuff to use. Don't be tempted to get a rattle can, because the rattle can adhesive just does not hold the same. They thin it down so much to make it to a point where a rattle can spray it, and it lets go the first time it gets hot. It just doesn't work. Don't do it. So yeah, Landau top glue and buy a spray gun for it. It's a little expensive. Comes in gallon cans. I think you can maybe get quart cans, but that's what you got to have. That's what all the auto upholsterers use, and there's a reason they all use it. Rooster's restorations. A cool part of my wagon was it was bought new in 67 by Grandpa, then gave it to his son, then he gave it to his son, and he sold it to me. Now I can leave it to my son, and he give it to my grandson. Very cool. That's very cool. Huh. So, what's that, a 318 car? And is that a Polly? It's too new for a Polly, I think, isn't it? 67? When did the Pollies finish? 66? So what motor's in that thing? I have to go to your channel and have a look. But yeah, that's a cool story. I mean, that the history on old cars like that is really is part of the fun. Chris Freeman is kind of like that newish mirrored building in London with a concave wall that concentrated sunlight melted some guy's Jag that was parked out on the street. Really? I hadn't heard of that. Like that newish mirrored building in London. Wow. Barry Cooter, I like peanut brittle. I don't like peanut brittle. Ugh. Yuck. Tavo, when I had to weld that bit up in the wheel well of the Valiant, the sound deadener just chipped off with a chisel. No freezing, nothing. I got lucky. Yeah, when it gets old enough and dry enough, it can be like that. It just won't come off. It comes off much easier. Needle scale is also pretty good at getting it off, which, I mean, I know what the needle scalers with it's got like a dozen little 1/8-inch steel rods and it just like a little needles, and it vibrates like it's a pneumatic deal. That's pretty good at getting old soundproofing off. Barracuda, hadn't heard of that. Yeah, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. Jeff Hutchins, yes, I've seen many gross people in cars here. People do some interesting things. Volfly, I haven't had peanut brittle in years. Okay. Chris Freeman said, can't remember the name of the building, but it's a totally true story. Oh, cool. Volfly. Good, mate. Yeah. Trust me on that one, and you won't go wrong. Tavo, hey Kiwi, is your headliner video still up from a couple of years ago? I might have to refer back to it when doing mine. Hey, it should be, mate. It should be. Probably need to do another one actually with a bit. Well, I haven't even got anything to do a headlining on at the moment, but yeah. That was a Mustang Fastback, which was a pretty simple one to do, to be fair. When the headlining goes back down the C pillar, that makes it a little more challenging. But I'm sure there's other guys got videos out as well. But it should still be there. I've never taken a video down, so. Volfly Jeff, you said mum and sausage in the same sentence. Oh my god. Good to see we're all being adults here. Very cute. I've seen Reese's peanut brittle cups here. Haven't tried them yet. Ugh, sound disgusting. Do not like peanuts. But I'm sure if you do, they're nice. Reese's Restoration 67. It's the first year of the LA motor. But the cool part is the steel crank with closed chamber heads, only in 67. It's a 318. Right. LA, yeah. Okay. Well, it could be a 360. I'm not sure when they made the 360. Good little engine. And you can buy a 4-inch stroker crank for them. Make them a bit bigger. Chief Hutchins, that building needs sunglasses. Chavo, lots of tiny hammers grouped together at high speed. That's the one. It's a much better description of it. Well done. Holding car mods, I hear you can use dry ice to get sound deadening off, but I'm not sure if it's true. I believe it is. I've seen videos of it using dry ice. Yeah, I believe it is true. It literally just makes it so brittle that if you can flex the metal a little bit, it just pings off. All the guys are wanting Reese's peanut butter cups now. Paul Funk, I want to make a Reese's peanut butter s'more. Ugh. Jeff Hutchin. All right, looks like our new subject's peanut brittle. Not a subject dear to my heart, but that's all right. So what else is coming up at the shop? I was talking about that Cadillac earlier. We got a couple of Cadillac convertibles coming in. Got a 73 Mustang Mach 1 here at the shop at the moment, which just needs a starter motor. But we might do a quick video on that one, seeing as I have had one in before. This looks a lot nicer than the last one we had in, though. That was the last one we had in, or the only other one we had in, was a blue one that was a bit of a POS that the guy had been taken to the cleaners with, as so often happens with the Mustangs. So I got that coming up. What else? Of interest. Got some regular stuff that I won't do videos on, but yeah. So that's coming up. Got an Alpine 1 3/4 shot, which I'm probably going to try and finish tomorrow. And get that out there. I've been busy on that, like beefing it up, putting some tubing in and making it stronger. So it's worked out pretty well, but you'll have to wait for the video. Barracuda. I should get their Prime Minister to stand where the Jag was. Ooh. Politics, no politics, but that is kind of funny. I'll give you that. Tech bits and pieces. I think Questionable Garage had a video of removing sound deadener using dry ice. You'd probably find it's all over YouTube, I would think. I've seen it a couple of times in shorts and stuff. David Tyree, never had peanut brittle, now peanut slab. Yeah, my Mrs. K loves Whittaker's peanut slabs. Yeah, big time. Paul Funk, what about a peppermint patty s'more? That sounds pretty interesting. Volfly, saw the dry ice video, looked real. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's real. Yep. Roosters Restorations. Since you're the Ford truck god, LOL. Yeah, that is LOL. My client wants a 71 3/4 ton 2-wheel drive red with a black interior with a 390. So can you hook me up? Hey, 71. That's a bump side, isn't it? I have a customer that's got. Oh, this is his 4-wheel drive. Yeah, I did a video on one a little while ago. I'm trying to remember whether it was 4-wheel drive or not. But that was a 390 bump side. But yeah, I don't think it was for sale, unfortunately. It may have been a 4-wheeler. But no, I don't know of any of those for sale off the top of my head. But Jeff Hutchins' fire will also remove sound deadening. Yes, very effectively. It burns like a mother. Chris Freemesser, done anything with the shortened Ford pickup since you put the new body panels on it? No, just put shit in the back and lugged it around and drove it. So I've just been using it. It's just been the shock truck. It's got Marge's engine sat in the back of it right now as we speak. Her engine and heads are in there. Going to carry them up to the engine shop either tomorrow or Thursday and deliver some GTO carburetors and stuff like that. So yeah, she's actually been paying her way, like actually working. The Holes, did you watch the NRL Grand Final? No, mate, I didn't. Actually, I don't even know who was in it. I don't know. I've kind of, I haven't seen much league for many years. It was my favourite. I actually preferred that to Union rugby league, but you just rarely ever see it over here. How are the Warriors doing? Jeff Hutchins. Swear I'm not a pyromaniac. It's not my fault that it fixes so many problems. Here we go. Peanut is closer to a bean than a nut. It's a legume. Okay. Good to know. That's why we all came here tonight, was to find out that a peanut is actually a legume. So that being said, we can all sleep easier now. Volflow, they say never heat up brake lines to loosen them, but damn it, it works. Just use caution. Mate, it absolutely works. The rubber lines, when they pop, they send red hot freaking brake fluid everywhere. If I've got a stubborn one that I got to heat, I'll cut the rubber hose off, close to the fitting as I can. And try and stop that so you can still heat them. But they go off with a crack, don't they? Education, Tarbo, educational channel. Well, we've got to be famous for something, right? Barry Cooter, what's the difference between Clint Eastwood and Liberace? I don't know. No, don't know. Do tell. I've actually got a funny joke, which I possibly shouldn't tell here, but I might. The Holes, Melbourne Storm and Brisbane Broncos came out on top by 4 points. Brisbane and the Brisbane Lions also took out the AFL. Oh wow, big year for Brisbane, indeed. They'd be very happy. Driveway of Misfit. Peanuts are tasty and delightful, especially when embedded in a big effing chunk of chocolate. Well, yes. XBGT Coupe guy. G'day. Good to have you along, man. That's a car I would like to own, an XBGT Coupe. I had an XBG, not a GT, XBGS panel van years ago. Wish I hadn't sold that. Barry Cooter, the answer is a bit edgy. I'm sure it is with those two characters, yes. So my joke was, what does a G-string or a thong, as in ladies' underwear, and Donald Trump's haircut have in common? Now, this is not a judgment on where my politics go, because we're not even talking about which side of the line I'm on, but that's just a funny story. Yeah, what does a thong or a G-string have in common with Donald Trump's hairstyle? So all answers will be read and, see what you theorise on. Tech bits and pieces. XA, XB, XC coupes now fetch big bucks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely they do. There's a company in Australia hand making rear quarters for those. And I was told, and I must admit, I have to question the accuracy, and Tarbo might be able to jump in here if I haven't mentioned it in the past. I'm not sure they have or not. But I was told they're charging $11,000 Australian dollars per quarter, per rear quarter, for a handmade, XABC coupe rear quarter. If that's true, that's mind blowing. But they're hand making them. There's going to be a huge amount of hours in them. They're starting with flat sheets of metal and actually old school hand making them. But the price is staggering, and the fact they can sell them is just as staggering. Jeff Hutchins just sitting here patiently waiting for good peanut jokes. XBGT Coupe. This one's a Fairmont. Just bought 3 hardtop ones, an RPO 83 and 1 GT. Oh, wow. Very nice. Very nice. Nice to be you. That's some hot property, man. Wow. Roosters Restorations. I'm on the edge of my seat. Very good. Chavo, still seeing the odd XBXC Ute projects coming up at fair prices, Kiwi. Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on one of those. Tech bits and pieces. There we go. Rear quarters for the Falcon coupes are handmade in South Australia, and yes, they are 11K. That's staggering. I'm shocked that they haven't, gotten some, one of the Chinese sheet metal makers, or Taiwanese or wherever they are, to make some of those up. If people are, it's obviously like people are prepared to pay. That's for a pair, it's 22,000 Australian dollars, which is probably 17,000 US dollars for a pair of rear quarters, not for the car. Just the rear quarters. It's wild. Jeff Hutchins, what's the difference between a Harley and a Hoover? Not much. I'm not a big fan of Harleys, I'm afraid. XBGT Coupe, that's true. The parts are far better than rear spares. Okay. Barracuda. One will make your day, the other one will make your whole week. All done on the spelling. Very good. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. So the answer to the what does a thong or a G-string have in common with Donald Trump's hairdo? Both barely cover an arsehole. So there you go. You can write that one down. If Mrs. K is watching this, she'll tell me off for telling that joke. But what's she gonna do? Cool. Tech bits and pieces, rear spares, replacement parts have always been questionable. So do they have like the Falcon quarters as well, but like a cheaper version, I'm guessing? XA Coupe, I'm in Adelaide and I've seen them make the parts. They do other body parts too. Yeah, it's pretty amazing how they do it. Firefly, researching misophonia, sound-triggered extreme physical responses. Okay. A Harley and a Hoover. The Hoover has the dirt bag on the inside. Oh, dear. Barracuda, perhaps too easy. Nah, mate, that's fine. You're good. You're golden. My one's a bit edgy, but hey, we haven't got. Oh God, I've gone blank. Don't worry about it. Chavo, but like the one, what's the difference between a porcupine and a cop? The pricks are inside a cop car. Yeah, that's my guess anyway. Liquid Gold 93. Hey, Kiwi, are 71, 73 Mustangs becoming more popular these days? I'm not seeing, maybe a little. Maybe a little, but yeah, nothing like as popular as 69, 70. And then 67, 68, still probably the most popular. 71, 73, I think, as they get harder and harder to find a decent one, they will creep up in value. But, the Mustang model, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion. So I don't know if you've got one, Liquid Gold, but, I hope I don't offend you. But for me, they around that 70s were still a true muscle car. 71s to 73, they got a little big. They got a little big and a little heavy. And then, of course, Ford flip-flopped and went miles the other way and made the Mustang 2, which even those are increasing a little in popularity. So, yeah, I think the 71, 73 will have their day, but I don't think it'll be as big as the 60s Mustangs. Tech bits and pieces. When I had a 68 Monaro, rear spares repair sections were rough as guts back then and seem to be no better now. Oh, wow. Jeff Hutchins, that's the same. That's basically the same as a Tarbo's, a BMW and a porcupine. The pricks are on the inside of a BMW, on the outside of a porcupine. Volflight goes along with my somatic stuff. Some sounds make people involuntarily gag. Really? The video short had me laughing for 30 minutes. Oh, really? Sounds funny. No, Tarbo, I say the answer the other way around. The porcupine has pricks on the outside. There you go. Volflight's a rare condition. I bet it is. Rear spares, Valiant parts are not good, Tarbo. Yeah, Tarbo should know. Roosters restoration. So about body panels. So 40 years ago, we made all our own patch panels by hand. It was a craft because no one made cool stuff like AMD does today. Yeah, and it's a dying art. It's a dying art. And it's dying because it takes time to make your own patch panels. There's guys that can still do it, and I'll make my own at times. But it's not a very cost-effective way. Like with the Alpine, I'm having to make panels because you really can't buy them. There's a little bit available in England, but it's prohibitive to getting them here unless there's a supplier here that I'm not aware of. But yeah, it's just at the hourly rate to be making patch panels compared to buying $40 ones that are stamped, not bad. It's people aren't going to make their own anymore. Jeff Hutchins, why do cowboys wear their hat brims up on the sides? I don't know. Liquid Gold, you're not wrong. They kind of lost the plot on making them big for no reason. Yes, I own a 72 Mac 1 with a 4V Cleveland. That's pretty much what I've got in the shop right now. I think it's a 73, actually. But yeah, 4V Cleveland. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to drive that one, see what it feels like. I drove that one I had in the shop like 18 months ago, but honestly, the car was tired, very used, very messed. It was just not a nice example, and would have required a huge amount of work to make it a nice one. So yeah, this one that rolled in is a nice car. So I'm going to be interesting to see what that drives like. XBGTQ. What do you call sheep and long grass? Sheep and long grass. I'm not sure. Paul Funk. Glad I grew up in the 70s and 80s when no one gave a shit about politics. Yeah, I'm with you, bud. I agree. How the jokes are coming thick and fast. What's the difference between a policeman's truncheon and a magician's wand? Oh, I hate to think. Barracuda, why did the chicken cross the road? Well, yes, that's a fairly old joke, isn't it? But yeah, with a lot of different punchlines to get laid. There you go. Okay. Tava, only good panels for Valiant, Sierra, VF, VG, hardtops. Because they're AMD imported dart panels. There you go. Jeff Hutchins. Why did Cowboys turn? Oh, jeez. So you can fit 3 of them in a pickup. Oh, God. There's some truth to that too, isn't there? Some truth to that. One serves a magician, the other cracks his head open. Yep. Andy Nickel, back in the 60s on a kids' TV show where the kids would tell joke. One says, why is a woman like a frying pan? You have to heat them up before you put the meat in. On a kids' TV show? Woo. That is kind of funny, though. Very cute. No, I definitely shouldn't give the answer to that one. No, possibly not. Possibly not. Holy car mods, are 4V heads pricey for a 39? Well, I don't think they ever made specifically a 4V head for a 289 that I'm aware of. I mean, they made, they made the Boss 302, which had Cleveland heads on it, and then for the, they made the GT40 heads and stuff like that. But I'm not aware of a 4V. Ford naming a 4V head for a 289. Andy Nickel, the next kid says, I'd like to say hello to Mummy and Daddy and the nice man who helps Mummy sleep when Daddy's at work. Ooh. One was for performing cunning stunts, and the other one is, I'm not reading that out. Jeff Hutchins, Kiwi, I'm a Trump fan, not offended by your joke because I'm an adult. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the show. And yeah, that's exactly how it should be. We should be able to tell a joke because it's actually fairly funny. And whether you are or not, a Trump fan or not, it should still be seen as fairly funny. Bottlefly ducks for cover, yeah. Well, it's 9:01, guys. Another 2 hours has smoked by. Liquid gold, random question. Do you think Isky camshafts are worth the exorbitant price? If I possibly can, I go with roller cams these days. I know those are pricey, but they just solve so many problems with flat tappet cams. Roller cams are worth the money if you can get one that will go in your engine. That would be so. Isky cam is probably a flat tappet, right? Yes, dear, I'm a Trump fan too. Well, there's 1 or 2 Trump fans here in the States. There just is. And there's 1 or 2 Trump haters. So, but yeah, we ain't going there. We're not solving that problem here. I'd much rather discuss mouse laden, Dodge wagons, which some might say that's comparable. Liquid gold, agreed. Need to modify with black. Yeah, you can usually make them work if you're motivated enough. Jeff Hutchins, you owe us the 5 minutes while you were down. Well, that's true. We're at 9:03, so we're nearly there. Now, what's that about the Alpine? Quick question. When are you going to post on the Alpine? I'm rebuilding my Tiger, and at that point where I need to shape the front fender flares. There should be a Alpine video coming out this week, but it won't be doing anything on the front fender flares. I'm probably going to have to do that, but it's not. That's not coming up anytime soon, I'm afraid. So have you? Okay. Shoot me an email, mate, and give me a little bit more detail, or send me some pictures or something like that, and I'll see if I can give you some advice. But I really do need to get going here quickly. Here's my email address. So Bear, that's my email there. Shoot me an email with some pictures of what it is you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can help, because it is something I've got to do on my one. Got to make them a little bigger and probably actually reshape the whole arch to suit the wheels better. Now, I've got behind. Rooster's Restorations, do you have a link to your merch? I want a shirt and we'll wear it when I make my next video. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, if you go to the homepage on my video channel, like if you go to the home of the video channel, you'll see a Spotify link there, or you can just email me at that email when you're sending me the pictures of your wagon, and we can make it happen that way. Holy carmods. GMC stands for Got a Mechanic Coming. Oh, that's going to upset some people. But it's pretty funny. Is there a bead roller die that would match the Tiger front fender flares? Not exactly, no. No, you'd almost need like a Pullmax or something like that to really duplicate it accurately. But that's what I was going to use, a bead roller to create the fender flares on mine, and then just hand shape it to the final little bit. But so shoot me an email and we can talk about it a bit more. I thought when we were talking about mouse turds, we were talking about politics. Well, yeah. End of time, I'm a Canadian Trump fan. Really? I didn't think Canadians liked Trump particularly. Rooster's Restoration, a mod for Dead Dodge Garage, and we don't allow any political stuff. Jamie wants it to be all about cars. Yeah, well, I don't either, really. But I mean, it's not a quick joke about politics is not the same as discussing, getting into the rights and wrongs of politics. So yeah, no, I'm with Jamie. It needs to be about cars or whatever silly shit we come up with, really. Merch link Kiwi. Mate, I need my mod to do that, but you're not here. So it's on the homepage of my YouTube channel. So go there, and it's on Shopify. But I would have to go out of the screen and find it and cut and paste it. And I'm going to bed. But yeah. Right. Yeah, Ref Hutchins. Yep, no need to ruin a good bunch with politics. Yeah, exactly. The holes. Here's the suggestion, Kiwi. Someone has to do a deal with China to do XAXB quarter panels 3D printed in hard plastic. Oh, I don't think that'd fly. Somebody needs to make them, though. Someone needs to stamp them out of sheet metal because they need the quarter for structural strength. That 3D plastic would not be a go. All right, well, that's it, guys. You've had now an extra 8 minutes. So you see, never say you get shortchanged. I'm going to go. I have to ring Mrs. K because she's out of town. Say goodnight to her and go and get ready for the day tomorrow. Got plenty to do. So you guys take it easy. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for all the comments. Thank you, Tavo, for that little super chat. Much appreciated. And I will get a merch link and make sure I bang it up next time. And yeah, Barracuda, you always Buster. Yeah, I do. All right, fellas, we'll take it easy. Get to work on your cars. There's still a bit of time to go cruising before the winter really bites. So yeah, have fun, and I will see you next Tuesday night. Take it easy, guys.